Hi, I'm Keith. Welcome to my art studio, where today I have something extra special for you. This is a dino head. I do lots of dino heads, but this one I did with colored pencil. There's ink, there's a little bit of paint in here, but most of the coloring, or all the coloring you see here, was done with pencil. Something I have not used a lot in all the years I've been doing art, but I wanted to try something different, and I love the way this turned out. So if you want to see how I did it, stay tuned. This dino went through a bunch of stages. I have this thing about my artwork where I overdo it to death, and I need to back off and slow down and not go so overboard. In this one I did a bit. You'll see it later. So right now I am putting in my pencil lines. And my idea for this artwork was colored pencil. And one thing that this thing did that's different than my other works of art is it muted the colors down, which is something I needed to have done anyway, because a lot of my paintings are way colorful. I'm not saying they're too colorful. I'm sure some folks like colorful art, but I've done artwork in black and white just because I wanted to get out of that habit. And doing these colored pencils kind of helped me with that. When it was done, it looked more real to me than my paintings do. I need to pay more attention to my colors, I guess. So right here, I'm putting in some texture around the nose. I do have a reference for this. You can see it at the bottom of the page. And I'm putting in all these little circles, which I go through and I highlight. And this is the fun part of the painting for me. The fun part because I get to put all this texture and stuff into it. And, at different times in this painting, I could have just stopped and said I'm done. Really, I mean, I could have got 4 paintings or 4 works of art out of this work of art, just based on the stages. I mean, the pencil with the this texture looks awesome by itself. Then I go through and I use my brush pen, which I just discovered recently at the store, and I start thickening up my outlines. And that's really comic booky. And I'm very much influenced by comic book art. Here, I grab a great big fat black magic marker because I really want to thicken up the outlines. I love the way it looks. It's a personal thing of mine. I love the outlines when they're nice and thick and full. It kind of encapsulates the image altogether. So right now I'm taking my brush pen again, and I think I'm putting in some hash marks. I did a lot of cross hatching in this picture, and I love cross hatching. It goes back to my old days when I was in high school and I was a cartoonist. I do cartoons a little bit nowadays, but not as much. But I was into cross hatching because of Mad Magazine. I learned how to draw reading that magazine. So here I'm putting in my blacks, and I really wanted. This is the part that you'll see later that kind of stumped me. I wanted pure blacks in this painting. I wanted pure blacks. And me, I can't leave anything well alone. So once again, once these blacks are in here, that's stage 2. That's stage 2 where this picture could have been done. And I could have just framed it and hung it up after I get these couple stripes in here. And I like the way it looks. I like the black and white look because it kind of reminds me once again, of comic book art. You notice lots of black and whites in comic book art. If you're a kid watching this, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. So right now, I would say this is version 2. I could have stopped right here, and this picture would have been done. Done. I could have hung it in the wall, hung it in the museum, and sold it for $2.5 million. But no, this was my colored pencil. I went to Lincoln, Nebraska, because I'm from Nebraska. Went to 2 different art stores to pick up some colored pencils. And I have not used colored pencils a lot in my history. I've been doing art for, 40 years. And it never really intrigued me much. But, I'd go through the art supply store. I'd see the Prismacolors and whatnot. And I go, well, that'd be cool. But do I want to spend the money on colored pencils if I never use them? Well, I sucked it up and I bought 2 different packages of colored pencils. I didn't know which one would be the best. So right here, if you look, right now I'm using the green colored pencil. And I had an idea with this. Oh, now I'm using the red because that's his mouth. And I go over that mouth a couple of different times because later on I figure out it wasn't quite red enough. Right now I'm using the pink. So it looks okay here, but later on I kind of doctor it up, and I'm glad I did because I wanted a contrast between that green and that red. And it's a mouth. Your mouth should be red. So I went on the the skull or the skin, and I greened it up because you know lizards are green. So if you look at my hand, what's that? That's orange. Now if I mixed green and orange and paint together, what would I get? I would get mud. But I found out if you use green and red pencil, it doesn't mud it up. It actually looks pretty cool. And I was really glad. I mean, color mixing for me is a problem. I don't know enough about it, and I probably should study it more. But I do like the way this orange and this green worked together. Looking at the pictures behind me right now as I'm editing this, and it looks fantastic close up. I wish you guys could see it close up. Or just put this on your big screen TV set and watch it. Because watching this on your phone, you're missing out on all the details. You're missing all the cross-hatching. You're missing all the fun stuff. So I'm adding more orange and orange and orange and green. And, you know, right now I'm liking it. This is probably stage 3. I could have stopped right here and framed this thing and sold it, you know. But the blacks, I put those little texture marks, those little circles there, and it was okay. It was okay. I gave it 2.5 stars. You know, it was just enough texture, and I should have left it alone. But, you know, knowing me, I can't leave anything alone. You'll see here coming up how I just, I'm not going to say I ruined it, but I ruined it. Because it's hard to tell, you know, until you add the highlights, you really don't know what you have until you try, right? And the nice thing about paint is you can always paint over it. And most of the darks I have here, I used black India ink. And later on, I dug out my Mars Black acrylics so I could just douse over the whole thing. So here I am. I think, I'm using that. What am I doing here? Is that a brush or is that a pen? I think I'm using my ink washes. Ink washes. I'm doing that because I want my edges to be rounded. I want this thing to be like textureful. I also want it to feel like you could touch it, you know, with your eyes. And I put that shadow under his neck. That was right off the reference. The reference had that shadow. Then, what's my hand here? Is that my blue pencil? I do a lot of this blue pencil highlights. I backfill the black shadows with blue. That's also another comic book thing you see very common in comic books. They use blue to backfill. It's kind of like when you see snow in a picture. You notice the shadows of snow is not gray, it's blue. And it's a neat thing because you can add the blue and add more roundness to your picture. So, right now I am adding my blue. I'm probably at stage 4. I could have stopped right here and this thing would have been done. I could have sold it for $2.5 million and hung it in a museum or a gallery or two because it's looking pretty good, pretty good. So what do? I start adding highlights to those black bubbles. And right now I'm thinking, did I overdo it? Did I overdo it? I started adding some gray tones. That's ink wash because I want, with the dark background, it'll make my whites or my highlights pop better. So I just wanted to surround it enough to make my highlights pop. And it did. That's a nice 40% gray. So what do? I painted over my bubbles and I added these stripes. And you know what? These stripes weren't too bad. I actually kind of like them. Looking at it right here, I do like those stripes. They're not too much. You know, it gives some texture, some interest to my darks. But you know what I did? You know what I did? You know me, if you follow my page, I go in a little bit later. What am I doing here? Oh, I got a pencil, and I'm starting to do some pencil in the background, just adds more interest. Basically some shading. It's not really shading much, but just some pencil lines. So here I go. I have my highlight pencil, my highlight pen, or is that my highlight brush? I don't know, but here I go. And wham, bam, watch this, watch this. I can tell you the exact moment where I ruined it. Boom, 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 boom. Ruined it right there. Destroyed it. I should have never put those on there. I should have left it alone. So I'm leaving this in the video. This is a teaching opportunity. That's Mars Black acrylic. I'm just dousing the whole thing. I'm just getting rid of all that stuff. I'm starting from scratch. I don't want any of that stuff. I wanted my blacks. I'm going to get my blacks. So I'm almost starting over. And now this piece of film here is a little bit dark. My camera film is a little bit dark, but it lights up in a second. So I use my colored pencil only because it's not too bright, just to add a few little effects on there, just enough to say it's there, and an interesting little design. It's nothing big. You have to look for it. You have to squint your eyes, get really close to even see it. But it's just enough I can say there's something there, but not overpowering. So at the very end here, I go in and I add some more highlights on the top because, as we know, the sun is above us, right? Not below us. So I give it a little bit of highlights there, and I fixed that little horn, and it's basically done. And this is very good. Thanks for being here. Please subscribe.